Ryan Routh was the guy that tried to kill Donald Trump at his golf course in Florida. Well, he was sentenced and found guilty on all charges yesterday. Ryan Routh tried to stab himself as he was found guilty of plotting Trump assassination at Florida golf course. Ryan Routh, 59, represented himself during a fast-paced trial over the 2024 attempt to kill Donald Trump. The man was found guilty. Here, let's close this. The man was found guilty of trying to assassinate Donald Trump at his Florida golf course last year. He attempted to stab himself in the neck with a pen after a verdict was read in federal court. Ryan Routh's daughter reportedly screamed out, "Dad, don't hurt yourself," as U.S. Marshals tried to restrain him inside the Fort Pierce courtroom on Tuesday. Routh, 59, was found guilty on all counts after jurors deliberated roughly 2 hours at the conclusion of a fast-paced 12-day trial over his aborted plot to kill the president. He faces life in prison when he is sentenced on December 18th. Okay, so he's not being sentenced, but he was found guilty, so he still needs to go to a sentencing trial. Routh, who pleaded not guilty to the charges against him and chose to not have a lawyer throughout the proceedings, had planned the attack at the President Donald Trump International Golf Course or Golf Club, West Palm Beach. So it's Donald Trump's golf course. He had waited on a further hole down the line. Trump was golfing that day. Nearly 1 year ago, he was armed with a semi-automatic rifle, and then candidate Trump was playing golf on September 15th, 2024. The incident was just months after Trump was wounded in a shooting during a Pennsylvania rally. Secret Service agents spotted him hiding in a shrubbery, what prosecutors called a sniper's nest, armed with a SKS-style rifle with a shaved-off serial number. An agent then fired at Routh, who fled the scene without firing any shots of his own. He was then stopped roughly 45 minutes later while driving north on Interstate 95. He was found guilty of attempted assassination of a major presidential candidate, assaulting a federal officer, possessing a firearm and ammunition as a felon, and possession of a firearm with an obliterated serial number. Wow, obliterated. It's gone. This is not a whodunit, federal prosecutors told jurors during the trial in Fort Pierce. Prosecutors focused on Routh's intent, arguing that he wanted to shoot Trump despite not firing any shots, and had obsessively stalked and tracked his intended victim with a meticulously planned assassination attempt. Routh was serving as his own counsel, delivered a brief and disjointed closing statement to the jury, which he tried to argue that the government had not proved any intent to kill because he never fired his weapon nor pointed the gun at Trump. That's ridiculous. You're on his property, clearly with the intent to kill him with all those weapons. That's ridiculous. No one ever intended to kill anyone. The rifle was never picked up from its resting place. How did it get to its resting place, Ryan? How did it get to the sniper nest? How did it get to your sniper nest? If no one ever picked it up, idiot. This guy tried to represent himself, and he just kept going off on like insane tangents. As Tim pointed out on his show, all of this is probably likely to get him to a mental asylum. He's trying to do the insanity plea, so he gets a different outcome in his trial. But this dude's not insane. He's not insane. He's just I mean, you have to be some sort of insane in order to do this, right? But point being, he is of sane mind. He was just doing an insane act, which does not make him an insane person. He left a box at a friend's house in North Carolina with a letter reading, "Dear world, this was an assassination attempt on Donald Trump, but I failed you." What? He left okay, well, did he do that immediately after? Routh had multiple license plates and searched Google for directions to Miami Airport, flights to Mexico, hospitals in the area, how to make a tourniquet. So he was preparing to flee and preparing for if he had gotten injured to make a tourniquet and other things. The aborted attack arrived just 2 months after Trump was nearly fatally shot during a campaign rally last July when a gunman fired several shots into a crowd at an outdoor event in Pennsylvania. One bullet grazed Trump's ear and killed a spectator. At multiple points during the trial, Routh was reprimanded by District Judge Aileen Cannon for disrupting the proceedings, asking irrelevant questions, or making statements that were beyond the scope of the case. Cannon had also presided over and eventually dismissed a federal indictment against Trump for his withholding of classified documents at his Mar-a-Lago estate. Routh asked Cannon in July for permission to represent himself after he stated he was a million miles apart from court-appointed public defenders. Damn. The judge reluctantly agreed to Routh's request, but called it a bad idea, keeping public defenders in the courthouse to represent him if he could not. The 12-day trial concluded after federal prosecutors called in 38 witnesses who placed Routh at the scene and identified him as the suspect who could have killed Trump had not been caught. Routh did not testify. He called all 3 witnesses and had finished presenting his case Monday. Trump praised Cannon and Department of Justice leadership on his Truth Social account. Quote, "The trial was meticulously handled, and I would like to thank the judge and the jury for their time, professionalism, and patience," he wrote. "This was an evil man with an evil intention, and they caught him." Attorney General Pam Bondi said the verdict reflects the Justice Department's commitment to punishing those who engage in political violence. This attempted assassination was not only an attack on our president, but also an attack on the very nation itself, she said in a statement. The best thing to have come from this story today is his failed attempt. He tried to dodge justice with this attempt, guys. Do not mistake that. He was trying to get away from justice by taking out himself. That's what he was doing. He was trying to prevent himself from facing justice. He was trying to enact the shorter end of the stick, right? He wanted to just end the suffering. I advocate for capital punishment for specific individuals, people that are evil to the core, that are beyond redemption. This guy he was not able to carry out his attack. He failed. He did not kill anyone. Therefore, proper punishment would be him rotting in prison for the rest of his life. He did make the attempt. He failed, was unsuccessful. He can rot in prison the rest of his life. That's a fair punishment. And he tried to avoid that punishment by doing this. That's what he was ultimately trying to do. He was trying to get out of that punishment of sitting in a cell for the rest of his life. And I'm glad he failed. And I hope he rots. What do you guys think in the comments? Let's see. That guy would have missed anyway. His gun's scoop was electrical taped on the gun. Oh, no. We should bring back fat shaming. I need to be fat shamed. Admonish me, chat. I deserve it for slacking. He taped his scope on. Lol, Ukraine picked a shite assassin. Yeah, there's a lot of theories about how Ukraine may have been involved with this, and I've got questions myself. I gotta say, got questions myself. Oh, what's up? Melted's in the chat. And hello, Clint. Hello, Mighty Pete. Hello, guys. What's up? Did this guy have ties to Ukraine? Yes, this is the one that had ties to Ukraine. Ryan was just trying to save the taxpayers some cash. Couldn't even do that right. Oof. Right? Well, look, I'm pretty sure he's the guy that went to Ukraine and was helping out over there a little bit. And then all of a sudden he's back over here trying to assassinate our president. I don't know. I don't know, guys. Seems a little weird to me. Anyway, we're going to move on.